Hello my dear friends, this is a PaintyKat and today we're going to paint with watercolor and I'm planning to create a really beautiful spring landscape. I'm starting with a very easy sketch. I'm just planning a little hill and some trunks, some trees on this hill. I'm starting with a clear water and I'm going to add just half part of the sky, and as a sky color I choose cobalt blue. I put a lot of water in my palette, so this is a really watery color. Today I have no any reference photo, or I even have no any clear plan that I'm going to follow. No, I just have a spring mood. I'm really waiting for spring in this year, and I want to show you how possible to express spring feeling on a paper. In my opinion, cobalt blue, it's a kind of really beautiful shade of blue. It's fresh, it's deep, it's looking really beautiful with a carmine in the end. And I have in mind to create blooming plums or apple trees. It's gonna be pink trees. So in my view, cobalt blue fits perfectly with this kind of shades. To create horizontal line, I also choose green. It's a warm tone green. I mixed it with a little bit of cobalt blue to create a forest far from us. Paper here not wet at all, and you can see I left lots of sky area just clear. You can see I just created the common line of forest, and when I'm going back with my brush, with a very tip of brush, I'm creating the line that's close to view for forest as we know forest looking. It has some tops of trees, but it's just, zigzag line, not regular one. Also, I add a little bit of lemon yellow, cadmium lemon, and it's grass really far from us. And now I'm going to express spring feeling with a really nice, bright, pigmented pink color for my trees. I have a local garden close to my house, but here no any blooming trees yet. But later there is some lovely apple trees, and they blooming really with a deep carmine color. And I put water not everywhere. I put it, I created some wet spots, so my watercolor will flow not everywhere. You can see some areas inside of crown of tree is still absolutely dry, so watercolor not going there at all. And now you can see why I not put before any blue color under trees, because carmine I'm using at the moment can mix together with a cobalt blue and give us a really deep violet shade. I don't want it at least on top of crown, because it's the most light area of tree. There I want to see a really beautiful and pinkish color, so be careful, don't put much blue on a background on a step one. And now I'm creating, my brush, it's almost creating a lace. Imagine you painting a lace, but without any really visible pattern, and moves of my brush really chaotic. Also, I can put more water. I'm gonna create second group of crowns. I put really way too much water now, and I removed some of it with a napkin. And also try different shades. Probably you have no carmine, maybe you have Mother Lake Red. It's also nice shade. Maybe you only have scarlet red or just a simple red. Try it. Try them all, because today we're painting we're not following any picture, we're just trying to express your mood. So even if you, for example, if you like to create green trees, yes, it's very possible. You can choose green colors for crowns, for example, mix lemon yellow and green to create a spring, very light and beautiful trees. And again, remember, keep in mind, it's a spring, so crowns not too solid yet. It's just groups of small leaves or groups of very beautiful but small flowers still. So trees gonna be transparent, crown gonna have lots of holes in it, so white sky will be visible through the crown. And moves with your brush have to be really chaotic. Don't care if pink colors will mix a little bit with the green forest far away. It's still looking okay, looking fine, because it's a bottom part of crown, and yes, there is a shadow there. Also, I'm creating another part of tree on the left side. I want to have a feeling on this composition. It's not just a single unique group of trees that blooming at the moment. No, I want to create a feeling about really the whole landscape blooming at the moment. That's why I also put some pink colors on coast that visible far from us, still a little bit pink there, because small petals falling down from the trees, and I think I will create a lake with reflection of pink trees and petals falling on the water and making groups close to coastline. Now I want to paint very fresh, very green grass on this hill, so I'm mixing green and lemon green for really fresh shade. Be careful, because sometimes this shade of greens really pigmented, so put really nice amount of water. We want to create very young and fresh grass, and it's not the pigmented green, no, it's really light and I'd say transparent. So the shade need to be very light. Also, I'm not care about pink that mixing with green. I think it's looking fine and beautiful, and again some petals can follow on the grass under the trees. I didn't get this color too close to line with the far forest, and now I'm very careful spreading color of this grass close to the background line. It's gonna be not sharp, very soft. That's it. And now I really like how my hair looking. I think I want to add some maybe spots of lights, and I put here some orange, also very watery, very fresh, very transparent, and I'm gonna mix this orange with the green. Orange and this kind of green can give us a little bit brownish mix, with a feeling of brown. Why I like it, why I really like it, especially for spring mood landscapes, because fresh green grass can be really short, and some ground can be still visible. Still we can see some soil under it, or maybe some spots of it, but I'm not going to put here any brown spots, right? Because this hill really a bit far from us, we can't see many details on it, but a bit of color, this special greenish color, and as I told you, I got it as a mix of orange and green, still visible for us, right? And giving us a really nice spring feeling from our landscape. I also want to create a coast close to water. As I told you, I'm planning water. I think a lake here will looking very nice and fresh, and I'm creating coastline. I choose now still same orange plus green, plus you can get some umber brown color. Imagine here some ground, some old grass. Also it can be some garbage from the water, small grass, old grass from previous season, maybe from autumn, some autumn leaves. So this line can't be absolutely clear, and the light yellow sand also will not fit well this composition, because again light yellow sand more creating a summer look, summer visual for landscape, not the spring one. Also I want to paint some plants. It's probably old grass from previous season. It's very dark. Imagine young grass, still very short, and here we can only see old plants or maybe some small bushes that probably growing close to waterline. Again, I created the common line first, and now I choose smaller brush, number 0, or maybe you can choose number 1, and with moves from bottom to top I'm creating more soft look and some single grass, very thin one, very tiny ones. I also mixed a little bit of umber brown here. And again, I'm creating a very small, thin strokes. At the moment, I don't really happy with this intensity of brown, far from my view. And I'm going to remove a bit of pigment, a bit of watercolor from it, and the napkin, very handy at this moment. I'm just taking a bit of water from my paper, and of course with watercolor pigment as well. Blending the coastline. And you can see now the empty area between ground and grass, and I'm filling it with orange shade. And blending a little bit while this area still wet. So final look gonna be very, very soft. A bit more details, because this part of coastline close to us, here we can see some lines. Imagine there was a bit of waves from water, and it's bringing layers and layers of greens and leaves, falling leaves on water. So it's creating lines that following the coastline, and blending again. Today I really demonstrating for you my palette, because I want to show you clearly what kind of colors I'm using and what kind of shades I'm getting from mixing. I add a bit of cobalt blue to green on my palette, because here under this line we always have most dark area. It's a shadow from hill, because straight after this line I'm going to paint water with reflection. Of course, the same line, the shadow, very thin line of shadow, will be visible from another coast far from us, but it's just not same dark as on a foreground. Now I'm making wet the whole area for water, not going close to coastline. As soon as I'm getting closer to it, I used a smaller brush. And now, please keep all your moves, all your strokes just vertical, and have patience, because watercolor is a very slow paint. We have to give time to watercolor to work. This paints, it's just a magic, just pure magic, because watercolor will paint everything without you. Just please be patient enough before you will want to correct anything. Look, I'm not going to touch this area anymore, because I think this reflection just beautiful. I don't need to make any corrections here. Just same way, but another color. It's cobalt blue now for another part of reflection. Blue, because here we can see sky reflection, dark, maybe some dark blue colors reflection. But here I also have pink tree on the left side of composition. It's nothing really hard about watercolor reflection in water. It's just vertical moves and time for watercolor floating, and that's it. Let's put here a bit of green. When you painting close, really close to coastline, there you can paint with horizontal lines, but if you're working on the water, it's just vertical ones. It's really easy way to create reflection, and the result looking amazing, very beautiful. That's it. So as you can see, it's very easy way to create a lake on any your watercolor landscape. It's amazing, unique paints. That's not possible to use the same way on gouache or oil, for example. Yes, it's possible to create if you're using acrylic as watercolor. You can paint wet and wet technique as well with acrylic colors. I also created a more soft and light line for hill, and now it's time to complete crowns it's almost dry everywhere, just one small area still wet. I not care about it. I think it's good enough here. I'm not going to wait anymore. And now same with the vertical moves, with the very small tiny spots we adding details. Before, on my previous tutorials, we discussed about detailing on our compositions. The main idea is most detailed area taking the most attention from your viewer. So keep it in mind. If you want to keep attention from viewer on your trees, that's mean you have to create most detailed area here. That's why I working here with the small dots. It's smaller or bigger, you know, colors are still the same. It's carmine and metallic red. Sometimes it can be red. Again, it's in my view spring looking. So if your choice is greens colors, for example, so for this step, please choose more pigmented but same greens as you used before. And imagine crown, it's a group of smaller sized crowns. Imagine lots of crowns in one, and each small crown have shadow on bottom part, right? Also, I want to create a feeling of floating petals on the air, and I'm taking a toothbrush, just a toothbrush, and spreading some small dots around, mostly on crowns, of course, but some of spots you can see now on a sky area as well. And again, in my view, in my opinion, it's creating a very nice feeling of floating tiny petals. And now with a small brush, you can take number 0 or number 1. I creating same vertical spots, but mostly on the bottom parts of smaller groups. I'm not going to put any dark spots and areas on top of crown. And don't put it everywhere, you know, it's very depends how watercolor floated on a step, on a previous step on your own painting. Each watercolor is unique. It depends where you put more water or less water. So that's what I adore about watercolor. Even if you're following any tutorials, your composition, your landscape gonna be absolutely unique. A little bit here. Very vertical, remember. Very helpful, as for me, very helpful to make 1 or 2 steps back and check from the distance how it's looking. That's it. Probably I'm happy. I'm quite happy now. I think crowns detailed enough. Looking beautiful. And now I put sepia in red color in area where I have a red before, because I want sepia with a small influence of metallic red, and I'm creating trunks. Brush is small, it's number 0, can be, or 1. And And trunks of fruits, trees can be curved, even can be curved a lot. It's have a very interesting shapes sometimes. My trees, it's plums, can be sakura, can be apples or peach, and it's a fruit tree, so trunks need to be wavy, can have interesting curved shapes. It's same about branches and twigs, have to be not straight. And also look, I still have here on crowns some white spots and looking very beautiful if some branches visible exactly on white spots. Remember please, twigs and small branches need to be very tiny, very small, so have patience, be accurate here. And I'm not painting with a one single stroke. I'm making small, really tiny strokes, connecting it sometimes, but it's helping me create very gentle and realistic, in the end, realistic look for my blooming trees. Same for another tree. Probably it's gonna be a group of trees. For a right tree, I created 2 trunks. Maybe I will add one more. And same, small twigs, small branches, very soft touching with my tip of brush. I'm trying, work with the really end of tip of my brush. Short strokes, not everywhere. And I recommend to you, don't use black for trunks. Black looking too grayish, I'd say not saturated at all, especially for spring landscapes. It's not fitting composition. In my opinion, sepia, you can also choose any shade of brown if you have no sepia in your watercolor, and you can mix it as well with carmine or Mother Lake red, because sometimes trunks of these fruit trees can have shades of red. For light on my trunks, I'm just blending a little bit of color, blending out, and this light shade of same color giving effect of light side on trunk. And I told you I'm going to create a second one, a second tree in this group. That's it. I'm quite happy. Let's put another trunk, third one, this group. Again, dark shade for main part and blend out a little bit to create a light on trunk. That's it. That's it. I think I'm done with my trees. Let's see what we have left, and this is shadows, cast shadows, of course. This landscape, not real. It's absolutely from my mind. It's a reflection of my imagination. That's why I want to create a violet cast shadows. I just like this color, and I think it's looking just very beautiful. I'm painting with a flat brush because it's have a tiny tip, and the same cast shadows. Also, imagine you painting a lace. No any solid lines here. Just touching paper slightly. And of course cast shadows falling on heel so it's curved, same shape as heel have. Also, I have to put a bit of violet to the grass on a foreground and a middle ground. I know about this violet I have here. It's really very light and becoming lighter, much lighter after it's getting dry. So I have to create a bit more over pigmented violet areas here because it's gonna be really much lighter after my landscape will get dry. It's common rule about watercolor, especially if you're painting wet and wet. You have to put more pigment, a little more than you want in the end, because watercolor will look softer and lighter in the end. But actually it's what we love about watercolor, fresh and half transparent look, right? By the way, look at reflection, those pink reflection. I created it with just some vertical lines and didn't correct it anymore. Watercolor paints can paint without any attention from my side. I'm just, just blending a little bit, correcting some grass. And that's it. All we have to do is sign our landscape in the end. That's all for today. That's how my spring feelings looking on a paper. I will be very happy to see your painting in my Facebook community, so join me. All links are down below, also for material I used for this tutorial. And we're going to have more interesting tutorials in the future. Subscribe to my channel. It was PaintyKat, and I wish you all the best.